Hey everybody, welcome back to the Reclamation Podcast, where our goal is to help you reclaim good practices for following Jesus. If we haven't met yet, my name is Tony and I'm your host. With over a decade in the local church, I care deeply and passionately about helping you connect with Jesus in practical ways. And ladies and gentlemen, today is week 4 of the relationship series, the last week, and with me is none other than...
me.
Oh, that was aggressive today. I like it. Yes, my beautiful wife, Karen Miltenberger, back. Karen, take us through the 4 weeks that we've kind of covered in the relationship series.
So week 1, we talked about disciplines. Week 2, we did trust. Week 3, we talked about sex. And this week, we are going to talk about commitment.
Now, commitment is really interesting because commitment kind of parlays with all of the other weeks. Commitment is part of the process. It's where the rubber meets the road. So we're going to jump into that. And if this conversation is helpful for you, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button wherever you listen to podcasts and share this episode with a friend. Maybe somebody who needs a little commitment reminder. That's always a good person to share this episode with. Okay, let's jump into the meat of today's message. Karen, would you share the scripture for us?
Yes, we are coming from 2 Timothy 4, 6 through 8. For I am already being poured out like a drink offering, and the time for my departure is near. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will reward to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing.
Now, what I love about this scripture is kind of twofold. First, I love that it starts out with this vision of a drink offering, because a drink offering is intentional and it's kind of pouring ourselves out. Paul is writing this letter to Timothy, the gentleman who he's discipled, the man he calls his spiritual son in the faith. And he's talking about their relationship. He's saying, hey, my time is coming. Your time is just beginning. I have fought the good fight. I've kept the faith. And I finished the race. Now, the race imagery is so important because when we think about commitment in our marriage, we have to have a finish line in store. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to just be walking around the world with no vision on where we're going or how we're going to get there. So when we think about the finish line in our marriage, that's really where commitment comes into play. So let's talk specifically about commitment. Commitment is built on disciplines, right? Disciplines are the stepping stone of commitment. Commitment is a long-term vision for what you want and the steps that you need to take to get there. Now, Karen, what is it that I always say about disciplines?
You say if you are not dedicated to your disciplines, you will be destroyed by your distractions.
And what does that mean to you? Let's kind of ask that, because people have heard me say this for a long time, but how does this kind of show itself in your life?
That if I'm not dedicated to some of the things that I say I'm going to do, like working out or eating well or things within our marriage, like some of those things we discussed that first week with, prayer and our sex life and things like that, then if I'm not focused on those things, then I will be very much distracted by junk food and my phone and all of the fun things.
Yeah, that's right. So when we think about commitment, what we're thinking about is a long-term vision. And when we think about disciplines, it's the stepping stones for commitment. So what I want to encourage us to kind of think about is, 1, go back and revisit your disciplines. And then 2, think about the vision, right? If you do your disciplines, where are they going to take you? Now, let me also say this. I firmly believe that most couples that I talk to in marriage counseling, they don't fall in and out of love. They fall in and out of commitment. And it's a commitment to the disciplines of being married. It's not to the actual marriage itself. So what ends up happening is couples stop talking. They stop being intentional with their physical intimacy. They stop praying together. And then all of a sudden, somewhere along the way, you go from being lovers and partners to roommates and business associates. Now, Karen, you and I went through a season like that after Shiloh was born. I'm wondering if you could kind of recap with everyone what happened.
Oh, it was so long ago now. I think it was just one of those things that we just kind of would wake up, we'd go to work, we'd come home, we would discuss the day, we'd have dinner as a family, we'd go to bed, and it just became that routine over and over again that, I guess to anybody else would have looked normal. But I think, for us in our marriage, that it was not what we had envisioned or thought we were going to be.
Yeah, I think this happens to a lot of couples. I think what ends up happening is somewhere along the way, we stop doing the little things and we lose sight of that long-term vision of what happily ever after is supposed to look like for us. And so, it wasn't that we woke up one day and said, man, we really want a mediocre marriage with no long-term thought process.
Right.
What ended up happening is we stopped doing the little things and we lost sight of the vision of what the long-term goal is. And so, one of the things that we wanted to do today was talk about 3 different types of tools that we have used in our marriage and still use to help keep commitment at the core, commitment to the long-term vision. And so the first one is the family mission statement. Karen, can you kind of tell everybody about our family mission statement and how we came to its conclusion?
So we kind of sat down, the 5 of us sat down, and we kind of talked about things that our family wanted to prioritize and think about for this year specifically. This is our last year with Connor 100% in the home before he goes away to college. And so we wanted to just kind of prioritize this next season and kind of ask them what they thought and what we wanted to do, and keep kind of the main focus together.
Yeah. I would, you and I had kind of talked about some of the things that we thought were important. Then we gave it to the kids to kind of go through, and our mission statement is really simple. It didn't start simple. I wanted it to be a lot more wordy, surprising to no one. But it ended with our mission statement for this year is the Miltenbergers will take the trip, serve others, and follow Jesus. So take the trip, serve others, and follow Jesus. And so that's kind of one of the ways that we use that almost like a coffee filter to filter out the things in life that we don't want. So when we're making decisions, we're trying to make them from that place. And you can do this too. Like, you don't have to be like an expert in mission statements. This is just one of those ways that, hey, I've got a vision of what we want to do this year. I've got a vision of what I want our life to look like. And that vision kind of leans into commitment really well. So the first thing is family mission statement. The second thing is my favorite, and those are family stickies. Now, over the years, we have had so many stickies, right? We've had so many stickies. When our kids were younger, some of the stickies, one of my favorite ones is we don't negotiate with terrorists or 2-year-olds, right? What are some of the other stickies?
That was the number one that stuck out in my mind.
Just be nice. I think you said that for a solid 5 years.
Yeah, and my kids still say it, just be nice. Safety first.
Be safe, make smart decisions.
The sun never sets on safety.
That's a good one. The sun never sets on safety. We stole that one from the United States Air Force. We are adventurers and explorers. We try new things.
Yep.
We said that one for years. Here's what stickies do, and whatever they are, right? Stickies are rally cries for your family. Stickies are rally cries for your family. They kind of give you a place to remind yourself where we're all in this together. And so, you've got your mission statement, and your mission statement's going to be good for a season. That season's probably going to be a fairly long season, a year, 2 years. Your sticky is going to be a much shorter season, right? And, for years, our kids have played sports. And so one of the stickies for us is like, hey, we work hard, play hard, right? Like we're grinders, these kind of family identities. So, okay, first one, family mission statement. Second one, family stickies. The third one is just for your marriage. The third one is a long-term vision for your marriage. And I'm going to share this one because it's really born out of my heart. For Karen and I, our long-term vision of our marriage is to have a little bit of property on a lake with a wraparound porch and rocking chairs where her and I in our 90s are holding hands as the sun sets, and there are generations of our families playing in the yard. There are people laughing, someone's grilling out, everybody's yelling, and we have a vision that our family will have a space and place together. Now, whether or not that actually happens, it's not nearly as important as the thought that we have it. We know where we're going. When you think about that vision, what do you think about, babe?
I love it. I love the fact that we get to grow old together and watch our families. I think that for me is what it boils. Like, I don't care where that is, Is the property and the lake important? Yes. But not, it's fun. Sorry, I meant to say it's not important. But, like what is important to me in that is that we are together with our family.
Yeah. So again, think about this in your world. We have two things for our family and one thing that's just for our marriage. Friends, if you don't have one thing, one vision for just you and your spouse, what's going to end up happening is your kids are going to leave and you're not going to have anything else. So if there's no part of this podcast that you remember or get or any of that, remember this. A vision for your marriage changes everything, because someday in the not too distant future, you'll only have your marriage left. And this is the other benefit. When you have a vision for your marriage, you teach your kids how to be married. And that's such a gift. It's such a gift to give your kids to say, hey, no matter what, my spouse, right? My wife, in my case, is number one. Any closing thoughts from you, babe?
No, this has really been fun. I've really enjoyed doing this with you. And I prefer being together versus last week when we had to do it apart.
Yeah, babe. I'm so thankful to do this with you. It has been such a joy. I pray and hope that this relationship series has been helpful for you. I know it's been fun for us. Next week, we begin a brand new series on Lent. We're going to talk about all things Lenten and to lean into those Lenten promises as we prepare for Easter. As always, I'm so thankful to be on this journey with each and every one of you. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave a rating or review on iTunes or Spotify. And remember that the highest compliment you can give us, share this episode. Tag us on socials. Tag Karen. Tell her how great she did at Karen Milt on Instagram. At Karen Milt. I'll put it in the show notes. Thankful for you guys. And remember, if you want to follow Jesus, you must be willing to move.